All right, let's look at example 4. Example 4 says using tolerance expressed as a percent. So write the possible range of each measurement, round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. So what we have is we have 12 pounds plus or minus 3%. We need to figure out, well, what is the range, the tolerance range for this example. So the first thing you have to do is figure out, well, what is 3% of 12? So in order to do that, we're just going to, go 12. We have to change 3% to a decimal. So you do that by moving the decimal over twice. That's your new decimal. So 3% is the same thing as 0.03. Okay, so we basically multiply 12 by 0.03. So we're finding what 3% of 12 is. So 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 1 is 3. We're done. There's 2 decimal places. There's a decimal place there and decimal place there. That means that we put our decimal 2 decimal places over. So that means that 3% of 12 is 0.36. Okay, so basically, pounds. This is the value. This is the perfect value, and then we're going to add 0.36 to it and subtract 0.36 from 12 to figure out what the min and the max are. So the minimum value is going to be 12 minus 0.36. Okay, so we're just gonna subtract. That's gonna be a 1 to borrow. 10 take away 6 is 4. 9 take away 3 is 6. And 1, 1. Okay, so that's our minimum value. And then our maximum value is just going to be 12 plus 0.36. So we just add those two together. We get 6, 3, decimal comes down, 2, 1. So that's our maximum. So the range of tolerance is from 11.64 to, well, you can just say 2, 12.36. So anything that falls in that range is okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at the next example. 15 ounces plus or minus 1.5%. So the first thing we have to do is figure out, well, what is 1.5%? Oh, you know what I didn't do for this one? I need to put the units. So it would actually be 11.64 pounds to 12.36 pounds, like that. All right, so that's what the answer would look like. Okay, perfect. So on to B. So we have to figure out what 1.5% of 15 ounces is. Okay, so first we have to take 1.5% and convert it to a decimal. So we're going to move it over 2 places, put a 0 there. So that's the same thing as 0.015. And then to figure out what 1.5% of 15, 1.5 of means multiplication, which means you multiply it, right? So 15 times 0.015. I think I'm going to do, this one has 3 digits, so I'm going to put that on top. So 0.015, 1, 2, 3 digits, and put 15 on the bottom. It only has 2 digits. Okay, and then I'm just going to do the multiplication. So 5 times 5 is 25, right? The 5, carry the 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7, and then that's just 0, so we're good. Done there. Then we go to the tens place, so we got to put a 0 here in the ones place. 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 1 is 1, and then it's just 0, so we're good. Then we add, 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 5 is 2. Well, it's 12, right? The 2 carry the 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay? So now we just need to figure out, well, how many decimal, where do we put our decimal? And there's you count up the decimal places. So there's 1, 2, 3 decimal places. That means we go 1, 2, 3, and we put our decimal right there, okay? So that means what we're gonna be doing is going 15 ounces plus or minus 0.225, okay? So our minimum value is going to be 15 minus 0.225. Okay, so we're just going to subtract that. We have to borrow, making that a 4, 9, 9, 10. Okay, so that is going to be 5. 9 take away 2 is 7. 9 take away 2 is 7. That's a 4. Okay, so this is our minimum value. And then our maximum value is just going to be 15 plus 0.225, which just ends up being 15.225. All right, so we want to write our tolerance, which means it's going to be 14.775. Don't forget the units, which is ounces, to 15.225 ounces. So that is our answer. So just review, we took the percentage, we converted it to a decimal, and then we multiplied that decimal to our original number to figure out what 1.5% of 15 is. So it's 0.225, and then we subtracted it to get our minimum, and then we added it to get our maximum, and then boom shakalaka, there you go. Okay, so we have one more, C. We have 3 meters plus or minus 0.2%. So the first thing we need to do is convert this to a decimal. So I'm gonna change my color. 0.2%, it's the same thing. We move it 2 places to the left. So that is the same thing as 0.002. All right. And then to figure out what 0.2% of 3 is, we just multiply these together. So I'm going to put this one on top, 0.002, multiply it by 3. 3 times 2 is 6. And then, 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0. All right, then we just need to figure out where we put the decimal, and there's 1, 2, 3 places of decimals, so that means your answer has to be the same, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that means that 0.2% of 3 is 0.006. So then we just need to do 3 meters plus or minus 0.006. So our minimum value, right, is going to be 3 minus 0.006. So I need to... I'm going to borrow, make that a 2. This is going to be a 9, a 9, and a 10. So 10 take away 6 is 4. Then that's just a 9. That's a 9 and 2. So that's our minimum value. And then our maximum value is going to be 3 plus 600.3. So there you have it. There's our maximum value. So that means the tolerance is going to be 2.994 meters to 3.006. Oh, that's a 0. 3.006 meters. So there is the tolerance. All right, now if you flip to the back page of your notes, we have some check it out examples for example 4, where you're going to find the possible range of each measurement, round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. Oh, we forgot to round to the nearest hundredth. Oh, we should have done that. Ooh, did that say round to the nearest hundredth if necessary? Oh, we didn't do that. Let's see. This is tenths to hundredths, so this one's good. What about this one? Ooh, this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. We needed to round on this one. Okay, my bad. So This is the tenths place, this is a hundredth, so we have to round. This 5 means we round that up to an 8. So it should have been 14.78 ounces to, and then we have tenths, hundredths, thousandth. This 5 rounds us up to a 3, 15.23 ounces. So this is the actual answer rounded to the nearest hundredth. What about here? We have to round to the nearest hundredth. So 2.994, that's tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So if we want to round to the nearest hundredth, we look at the thousandth, and that doesn't round up. So this one just stays 2.99 meters to, and then here we have tenths, hundredths, thousandths. This 6 is actually going to round this 0 up to a 1. So it'd be 3.01 meters. So this is the actual answer once you do all the correct rounding, which I think I forgot to do. So, but now we have it right. So you need, I'm going to highlight that because sometimes you just in the directions, it's just, you have to highlight stuff so you remember once you do a big long process how your answer is supposed to be. So yeah, there's 4A, 4B, and 4C. So I just want you to work on these ones on your own. So here's my friend, the Pause Dragon, and remind you to pause your device, go ahead and work out 4A, 4B, and 4C. And when you get done, press play, and we will go over them together and see how you did. All right, see you in a bit. All right, we're back. Let's see how you did on 4A. So we're going to take, we need to figure out what 5% of 4.1 is to find the range. To do that, we have to convert this to a decimal. So 5% is the same thing as 0.05, okay? Then we're just going to go 4.1 times 0.05. Okay, then we multiply. 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 4 is 20. And then you have to count up the decimal places. So this one's a little bit more tricky because there's 1 decimal place, 2, 3. So that means 1, 2, 3, you put the decimal right here. So hopefully you did that right. Then we're gonna go, so 4.1 inches plus or minus 5% of 4.1 is 0.205. So we have to find that minimum value, okay, which is gonna be 4.1 minus 0.205. Put zeros in there. I have to borrow from this one, making this a 9 and that a 10. 10 take away 5 is 5. 9 take away 0 is 9. That's a 0 now. So I have to borrow from the 4, making that a 3 and that a 10. 10 take away 2 is 8.3. Okay, so we have 3.895. All right, so that's our minimum value. Then we need to determine our maximum value. Okay, so we take this same value, 4.1, and then add 0.205 to it. Put the zeros on top. 0 plus 5 is 5. 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus 2 is 3.4. And so then lastly, remember we need to round these to the nearest hundredth, right? So this is tenths, hundredths. That 5 rounds that up to a 0, which then rounds that up to a 9. So it's actually 3.9 inches to tenths, hundredths. This 5 rounds that up to a 1, so 4.31 inches. So if you got that answer, awesome job. Great job. Let's go on to the next one. So we have 475 meters plus or minus 2.5%. So the first thing we have to do is change that that percentage into a decimal, right? So we have 2.5% moves over 2 places. That means there's the decimal. It ends up being 0.025. All right. So we need to figure out what 2.5% of 475 is. So we multiply these together. 475 times 0.025. We get 5 times 5 is 25, write the 5, carry the 2. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 2 is 37, write the 7, carry the 3. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 is 23. Then we go to the tens place, we add a 0 for the ones. 2 times 5 is 10, write the 0, carry the 1. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15, write the 5, carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Okay, and then just 0, so we're done. We just add these. 5 plus 0 is 5, 7 plus 0 is 7, 3 plus 5 is 8, 2 plus 9 is 11. So how many decimal places do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3. That means we have 1, 2, 3, and then we put the decimal right there. So what we have is 475 meters plus or minus 11.875. Okay, so then to find our minimum value, we're going to go 475 minus 11.875. Okay, so we're going to borrow from that, making it a 4, 9, 9, 10. 10 take away 5 is 5. 9 take away 7 is 2. 9 take away 8 is 1. And then 4 take away 1 is 3. 7 take away 1 is 6. So there's our minimum value there. Then we just need to determine our maximum value. Okay, so 475 plus 11.875. And we got 5, 7, 8 point. 5 plus 1 is 6. 7 plus 1 is 8. 4. So there's our maximum value. But remember, we have to round to the nearest hundredth. So this is the tenths, this is the hundredths. We look at the thousandths, it rounds it up. So we have 463.13 meters to, we have tenths, hundredths, thousandths. This rounds this 7 up to an 8 to 486.88 meters. So that is the range of values, which is within the tolerance. All right, so if you got that right, awesome job. Okay, let's go into the last one, C, and see how you did. So we have 0.5% plus or minus 0.5, so we got to change that to a decimal first, right? Move it over 2 places. That's 1 place, that's 2 places. So that ends up being, put a 0 there, 0, 0, 5, okay? So then we just need to multiply this by 85. I'm actually just going to go 85 times 0.005. 5 times 5 is 25. Write the 5, carry the 2. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 is 42. Then we just, and that's 0, so that's not really going to do anything. So then we just count up the decimal places, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is where we put the decimal. So we're really going 85 milligrams plus or minus 0.425. So we need to find that minimum value. We're going to go 85 minus 0.425. That's a 4, 9, 9, 10. 10 take away 5 is 5. 9 take away 2 is 7. 9 take away 4 is 5. 4, 8. And then the maximum value is going to be 85 plus 0.425. 5, 2, 4, 5, 8. Yeah, that's it. And then we just need to round to the nearest thousandth. no, hundredth. I'm sorry, hundredths. It says round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so tenths, hundredths, this rounds us up to an 8. 84.58 milligrams to tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Okay, so this is going to round that up to a 3. 85.43 milligrams. So if you got that answer, awesome job. And I hope you do a wonderful job on your homework. If you have any questions, please bring them to class or reach out to math support. All right, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.